This is a serious conversation. Watch to the end. Moment there arise analysts dig deep into this government and their messy actions.
Yes.
They say we should make sacrifice, but the people in government are not ready to sacrifice anything.
They should.
Sanduka use the word blackmail. He's the one blackmailing.
I mean,
when the APC government now and the APC politicians were in bed with Labour and they were fighting Jonathan's government, Dr. Abati then, Labour was good then, Abi. Abi, they did not know that part of the bastardization of the civil society space was when the civil society space went in cahoots. And these things I'm saying, we should note it, went in cahoots with the opposition then to bastardize and shut down this country for 2 weeks. What did Mr. Sanduka say about it then? Because if we want to play this game of equivalence, let's play it. Day one, strike pending. They will probably end the strike very soon. They shut this country down for 2 weeks. There was nothing wrong with it then. So if you want to play this game of blackmail, you should have a game on me. Let's play this game of Teddy Picker together. Let's be picking Teddy. Nigerians don't learn. Oji, you see, the docility of the followership in Nigeria is an important ingredient in the hands of politicians. And except Nigerians' eye clear, they will keep hitting us and doing us wayo every time.
So guys, the reactions of Nigerians in this video is going to keep you weeping. I mean, the reactions of people because of what the government is doing to the masses. You will get to know that we are being ruled by vampires. These are people who don't mean well for the Nigerian people. People are lamenting. People are wailing over the leadership style that we have in this nation just because these people, they don't have empathy in their dictionary. Take a look at these videos.
When you get paid, within 2-3 days, the salary is nowhere to be found. Is that not equal? The suffering is too much. Why will the federal government, they said round table, the NSC, the TUC, they have been...
We go do and reach now. We go to work out for street, they destroy them, they kill themselves.
Thank you so much.
Because a hungry man is an angry man. As with the first, so my brother, as I come here this morning, so I never shop. I've been my children, they forbid to go to the school when their children they go. They go carry their children, thief our money, they carry their children, go better school. When they finish, they'll come load their children over us again. They return say, experience, do you qualify? Do you have this qualification? Qualification, kill their parents there. Qualification, kill them. Nonsense people. Nonsense idiots. You know how much senator they collect a month? Even their SAs, those days we go school, say we no want be touts. Now touts be their SA and others, what they do for them. And do you know how much they collect? They collect above 300,000-400,000 naira every month. If they say we know, for just Kukuma sit down for touting. So that all of us go, they do touting.
So, that's all you be.
Before they do touting, then we'll come suffer, go school finish, now we'll come manage, come enter the civil service work, then they'll call the suffer us. They'll call the suffer us. So as time goes on now, we'll go join the touting, so that make all of us the tout, better.
So guys, to be honest, Nigeria has gotten it wrong. With the kind of, the calibers of persons we have in the APC. Don't forget that Tinubu said he's coming back again in 2027. I'm just wondering if this country will continue to crawl. Because if indeed he believes he can win election genuinely, you will see efforts, to serve the masses. But do you know why they are not making any effort? It's because they know that come what may, INEC is going to be used. Come what may, the judiciary will work in their favor. That is why you don't see, it's as if we don't even have a president. I mean, nobody feels the presence of the president. You don't know when he's in the country. You don't know when he's out of the country. And it's as if there is leadership gap in this country.
The Nigerian minimum wage negotiations were going to be unnecessarily difficult because federal government poisoned the atmosphere for responsible negotiations by approving a reckless 90 billion naira Hajj subsidy, luxury SUVs for legislators, etc., thereby creating the false impression that the federal government was rich. Well, Finn wrote, the Nigerian economy can't afford 100,000 minimum wage. I agree that NLC has a point that about must be increased. Well, he meant that amount must be increased. But this nation can't pay 100,000 naira SEF. We have not grown wealth to afford 100,000 naira a month. 100,000 naira is $72. Well, NLC had been, posting a series of tweets, and this is one of them where they broke down, the amount the senators are making and the House of Assembly. Can they deny this? I hope you can help me with this because I can't really see that.
All right, so they said a living wage.
There.
Yeah, can we?
No, I can't.
All right, so the picture, can they deny this? Nigerian workers deserve better. A living wage is possible. And then goes on to break down Nigeria senators' earnings, highlighting wardrobe allowance. That's wardrobe allowance. They're highlighting out of 621,061 naira and 37 kobo. That's what brings you to the amount. So the basic salary is 2,484,245 and 50 kobo. But when you add all the allowances, it goes on to become 29,479,749 monthly.
I believe
they even get hardship allowance when Nigerians are the ones facing the hardship.
They get hardship allowance. I think Queen B broke it down as well. This is another Twitter user. She wrote, this is pure wickedness. How can anyone justify furniture allowance at 7.45 million, accommodation allowance at 5 million naira, vehicle allowance at 10 million naira, vehicle maintenance at 1.8 million naira, hardship allowance at 1.2 million naira? All of these are monthly in a country that is the poverty capital of the world. Labor must insist and never be cowed or go below 200,000 naira minimum wage. This was horrible yesterday. The Lagos State University Teaching Hospital in Ikeja was also shut down. Doctors and other health workers joined the street. With reactions trailing the industrial action embarked upon yesterday by labor unions, grinding Nigeria to a halt with a shutdown of schools, airports, hospitals, and the national grid, plunging the nation into darkness. Although the federal government has said that it is committed to a national minimum wage that is higher than 60,000 naira at the resolution reached during the meeting with organized labor on Monday night, the union, in a post on X, announced that the strike action will continue until they hear from their organs at a meeting scheduled for today. Many Nigerians say they support the strike and have called on the federal government to meet the needs of labor, given the overbloated expenditures of federal government parastatals. The chairman of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, Betty Bangbose, said that the Senate should put their salaries on minimum wage to understand the plights of the labor unions.
When you get paid, within 2-3 days, the salary is nowhere to be found. Is that not here? The suffering is too much. Why will the federal government, they said round table, the NSC, the TUC, they have been, deliberating on this round table for so long. They didn't feel that they should be putting 200 today, 300 tomorrow, 500 the next day for a minimum wage. It is enough. Enough is enough, please. Let them go, let the Senate, the whatever, let them put their salary on this minimum wage too, and let's see what will happen. Wow. Yeah. Let it go around. Let it go around like that.
Well, can you blame Betty at this point? If we're seeing the senators making what? A whooping 30 million naira?
A month?
Yeah.
Yes.
The National Assembly per month. If you're seeing them earning that amount of money, why wouldn't Nigerians agree with labor at this point? We've talked about the fact that, the policies that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu put into action when he came into power, has really caused the inflation that we're experiencing now. But having said that, these negotiations have been going on for a year. Let me take Atedo Peter Side's tweet. He wrote, "The Nigerian minimum wage negotiations were going to be unnecessarily difficult because federal government poisoned the atmosphere for responsible negotiations by approving a reckless 90 billion naira Hajj subsidy, luxury SUVs for legislators, etc., thereby creating the false impression that the federal government was rich." Well, Finn wrote, The Nigerian economy can't afford 100,000 minimum wage. I agree that NLC has a point that about must be increased. Well, he meant that amount must be increased. But this nation can't pay 100,000 naira SEF. We have not grown wealth to afford 100,000 naira a month. 100,000 naira is $72. Well, NLC had been, posting a series of tweets, and this is one of them where they broke down, the amount the senators are making and the House of Assembly. Can they deny this? I hope you can help me with this because I can't really see that. All right, so they said a living wage there. Yeah, can we? No, I can't. All right, so the picture. Can they deny this? Nigerian workers deserve better. A living wage is possible, and then goes on to break down Nigeria senators' earnings, highlighting wardrobe allowance. That's wardrobe allowance. They're highlighting out of 621,061 naira and 37 kobo. That's what brings you to the amount. So the basic salary is 2,484,245 and 50 kobo. But when you add all the allowances, it goes on to become 29,479,749 monthly. I believe
they even get hardship allowance when Nigerians are the ones facing the hardship.
They get hardship allowance. But I think Queen B broke it down as well. This is another Twitter user. She wrote, this is pure wickedness. How can anyone justify one, furniture allowance at 7.45 million, accommodation allowance at 5 million naira, vehicle allowance at 10 million naira, vehicle maintenance at 1.8 million naira, hardship allowance at 1.2 million naira. All of these are monthly in a country that is the poverty capital of the world. Labor must insist and never be cowed or go below 200,000 naira minimum wage. This was horrible yesterday. The Lagos State University Teaching Hospital in Ikeja was also shut down. Doctors and other health workers joined the strike. Let's look at that video before I come to you, Dr. Abati.
Yeah, right now at the General Hospital last week, Ikeja, no doctor around. As at this morning, everybody are there. No doctor to attend to them. You can see they are chasing the workers out. You can see this is General Hospital last week. You can see.
I believe the union, the health union, stated that emergency workers were still, on call. But you can see our nation at this moment plunged into darkness. Schools are closed, airports are closed, and we blame the federal government. I blame the federal government. I don't know about you, Dr. Abati. This is going on for too long.
From the perspective of organized labor, the strike action yesterday, from their own perspective, was effective. They shut down the airports. They shut down the hospitals. ASU has also joined the strike. 18 other unions are involved in the strike. And the cost, as our guest, Dr. Adedipe, was saying yesterday, runs into billions of naira. But even more than that, the cost is to be measured in terms of the pain that many Nigerians have had to suffer. People who could not have access to medical services, people who could not get fuel to buy, people whose operations, businesses have been disrupted by the cessation of banking services, which is why government needs to find a solution to it. And it's good that they have returned to the negotiating table and they say that they will meet on a daily basis until this matter is resolved. It has to be resolved anyway. The 2019 new National Minimum Wage Act having expired in April, so a new law must come up. But negotiation, dialogue is the main issue. I return to the point made by Mr. Atedo Peterside and others. Atedo Peterside's point is about, signaling. There's something in government about signaling. The kind of signal that you send out is what will determine public response to your administration. The government is buying SUV for legislators. The government is subsidizing Hajj trips, pilgrimages, to the tune of 90 billion. And then the people also look at people in government living conspicuously, ostentatious consumption, conspicuous consumption, to use the more technical word, either in terms of their private lives or in terms of how they operate officially. So the people will say, well, it means that there is money. So if the money is there, then let us all benefit from it. You can't say government is broke, government is insolvent, and government is asking the people to make sacrifice, the same sacrifice that the lawmakers in the National Assembly are not making. Hardship allowance is 50% of basic salary. Basic salary is 2.4. Hardship allowance is 1.2. Please, what hardship are the people in the National Assembly going through? They even collect wardrobe allowance. And their wardrobe allowance is about 20% of basic salary. 621,000
there you go.
For wardrobe, wardrobe allowance. Motor vehicle allowance is 40% of basic salary. The same vehicles bought by Nigerians, for them, they are also collecting 40% to maintain it. In fact, they even have something called entertainment allowance. 30% of basic salary, running into almost 900,000.
This is
These lawmakers are collecting on our behalf, to enjoy pepper soup and jollof rice. And so Nigerians will say, what the heck? And you can't even pay 30,000 naira. Well, unfortunately, the woman, I think you mentioned her name as Betty,
yes,
the labor activist, saying that maybe National Assembly members should start collecting 30,000 naira. Well, that is not likely to happen. Indeed, when the basic salary, when the new minimum wage is increased, you'll be surprised. They will no longer collect 29.9 million per month. It will go up.
Yes. Nonsense. Yeah.
In fact, they will even benefit more from it. But and then you have, again, the promotion of inequity, of inequality in this Nigerian environment.
Yes.
They say we should make sacrifice, but the people in government are not ready to sacrifice anything.
They should make sacrifices, but they shouldn't also politicize this. Rufai, I would like to take Bayo Ononuga's tweet. Who actually said that, let me read this tweet. He wrote, it's saddening that Labour could go to this extreme, but it is not surprising to the prospective minds. Labour is harming the Nigerian people they claim to be fighting for. Today, many sick Nigerians could not access medical care at government hospital, not even with critical medical conditions. It appears Labour is playing politics by other means. Many of the affiliates of the two central unions, NLC and TUC, are members and supporters of the Labour Party. They logically bear ill will and grudges against the Tinubu administration. What is clear is that the issue they claim to be fighting for cannot be resolved by blackmail or sabotage. They cannot even be resolved by the federal government unilaterally. The Labour leaders will still have to return to the negotiating table for a year. One whole year.
Audrey, Mr. Onaduga used the word blackmail. He's the word blackmailing. When the APC government now and the APC politicians were in bed with Labour and they were fighting Jonathan's government, Dr. Abati then, Labour was good then, Abi, they did not know that part of the bastardization of the civil society space was when the civil society space went in cahoots. And these things I'm saying, we should note it, went in cahoots with the opposition then to bastardize and shut down this country for 2 weeks. What did Mr. Onaduga say about it then? Because if we want to play this game of equivalence, let's play it. Day one, strike pending. They will probably end the strike very soon. They shut this country down for 2 weeks. There was nothing wrong with it then. So if you want to play this game of blackmail, you should have a game on me. Let's play this game of Teddy Picker together. Let's be picking Teddy. Nigerians don't learn. Oji, you see, the docility of the followership in Nigeria is an important ingredient in the hands of politicians. And except Nigerians' eye clear, they will keep hitting us and doing us wayo every time. I ask you a question now today. This same furniture allowance, 2007 to now is going to 20 years. Did anything change? No. The lawmakers are still collecting all the allowance. Because these politicians know that Nigerians will just shout on the page of the newspaper, They'll just shout on media, Rufai will talk, spit will dry in his mouth in retire, and they will move on. This was the same allowance we protested about in 2007. It continued. This same thing reoccurred. This allowance also reoccurred during the time of Chuba Okadigbo. It continued then. So when there's a lot of docility and people can ask questions, it will only continue. And that's why you are seeing all the numbers you are seeing. That's why the NAS budget keeps increasing every year and the people budget keeps suffering. Yes, we've heard all the arguments. We know Labour too can meet them halfway. But government are constantly shown bad faith. This was the same government that took a supplementary budget last year to be able to buy cars, 160 million. So after spending 160 million, then the next thing now, they are talking about using 10 million to give them cars every month. Why can't they buy fairly used made in Nigerian cars? Oji, please show them another empirical fact. Key them with data.
I would like, I'd like to pull up this tweet also by NLC. I mean, they actually broke this down. If we can pull that up, NAS budget and Nigerian workers' monthly minimum wage since 1999, over the years to 2024. Yes. In 1999, Ayo, how much was NAS budget?
2.2 billion naira.
And
3,000 naira.
Meager 3,000 naira.
Yes.
They posted that. In 2020, please, how much was it?
29.5 billion naira.
And we are here, 2022.
In 2022,
let's go down to 2022.
Going to 2022, that is 139 billion.
That was NAS budget. Yes. And now we are at 344.9 billion naira for NAS budget. And you are budgeting a meager 30,000 naira. We have talked about this inflation for more than a year. We cannot, okay, 100,000 naira. People say they can't pay, like Finn said, they can't, private sector can't pay 100,000 naira for the minimum wage. But I'm sure a lot of private sector can pay that 100,000 naira.
Yes.
There's something has to give.
Something has to give. And you know, when we pull up figures like this, it's provocative because then the same people who are consistently saying that, oh, we don't have money, it is not consistent with their lifestyle. When Dr. Abati was breaking down the senator's earnings, one line was the newspaper allowance. This time that newspaper is online. If you wanted to cut 1.2 million naira already, then I did the calculation. If you were to pay, divide that by 30 days, that's if they read newspapers Monday to Sunday, it's 41,400,000 naira per day for newspaper. Let me see. Guardian newspaper 250 naira. Tribune 250 naira. Vanguard, yes, 250 naira. This day, how much is this? The Dr. Please let me just. This day, newspaper of record is how much is this? How much is it? So that we see how many 41,000 naira in one day. So just to see how. Okay, even if you buy into like 41,000, it just shows that's just a little line from that to see that there's a lot of wastage. If you ask the Nigerian on the street, is Nigeria poor? They will tell you never. Why? Because we see the opulence of our politicians. We see the presidential, fleets. We see the governors. They're almost worshipped because of the amount of money. When they are doing charity, they spread money up and down. And you tell me Nigeria is poor. Tell me another story. So if you're saying that Nigeria is poor and cannot afford to pay 100,000 naira, then it must be reflected in the way we should be seeing tightening. The president is saying no, we cannot travel like this. I have to reduce my entourage and things like that. But we're not saying that. I think that's the disconnect.
All right, so they are saying the tripartite committee is going to meet every day now until they come to a resolution. They are saying that it's going to be higher than 60,000 naira. I mean, something's got to give. Our Nigerians are suffering. Our children have not written exams. There are people in the hospital not getting treatment. Please, federal government, come to the aid of labor. We'll take another story. The Redeemed Christian Church of God over the weekend suspended Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, who is the pastor of the City of David Parish and the head of the Papa family of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. The pastor was reportedly suspended for 3 months by the governing council of the church in response to the public outcry against the extravagant 60th birthday party of his wife, CG Iluyomade, shortly after the death of the late group CEO of Access Bank, Herbert Wigwe. Many believe that the birthday, which was celebrated just about a week after Wigwe's death, was in bad taste. Herbert Wigwe had been of immense blessing to the church before his transition, and so the party suggested the church had no emotional attachment to him. All right, we always talk about optics. I mean, this was bound to happen. I mean, it would have been a shame if this suspension didn't come. Ayo, you know I'm coming to you because you are our pastor in the house. I believe that he's been replaced by Charles Bande at
yes,
this
Pastor
point.
I
mean, this conversation, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians have been talking about it. I mean, how does it look at this moment with the church?
All right, so I have to say that Pastor ID, as we fondly call him, and Pastor Shiju Iliomade were my pastors. So first thing I must say is that in terms of their personality and character, it would be remiss of me to not say that these are people who have really contributed in terms of their community, society, and have been are upstanding citizens. And unfortunately, this might have been an error of judgment, which caused a lot of outcry when this happened. And I know that there were plans for the church to wade in and come in, and that's the bigger church now because of the structure of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. What has happened here is a suspension, and it's said to have happened following internal processes involving the governing council of the church. Now, you cannot legislate how an entity decides to, handle a matter. And for a number of people, it seemed like, oh, yes. But I believe that it's beyond just, what's happened with them having the party. That's Pastor Shiju's 60th birthday. People know how to want to celebrate life, love life. But there was also the challenge of perhaps the wrong timing and the call by a number of people. He's not been taken out permanently. It's a suspension.
It's a suspension.
Yes, it's a suspension. And Pastor Pande, interestingly, was his church that the service of songs, the Lagos edition of the Wigwe's services were held. So he's now gone to City of David. So we'll see how this works, just the early stages. But at the end of the day, what I'll just say is that when it comes to the internal workings of an organization, they have a process of handling matters that are contentious, and the Redeemed Christian Church of God has done just that.
As regards Pastor Iliomade, yes, I get the fact that, yeah, there are a lot of things. In fact, I remember the Arise project by Pastor Siju and all the other great work they have done. But let me tell you something. It has to be said, some error of judgment can be very costly. The Bible says when people are mourning, you mourn with them.
Yeah.
And the optics look particularly bad.
Absolutely.
And like we argued on this table, celebrations could have been suspended.
Yes.
So whatever Redeemed Church is going to do as regards this, the suspension is also to investigate.
Yes.
So an investigation is on. We'll leave it to the discretion of the Redeemed Church and all of that. But we also should set some terms clear. Nobody's bigger than the church institution, because we've heard a lot of yiggity-biggity in the back. All right? And with or without anybody, any religious institution will move. The house of Christ is marching on.
Yes, well, I would like to align myself with a comment that was made when this story came up. The question was, if it was the pastor's wife's son that died, would she go ahead to celebrate her birthday party?
Good question.
That's the question. Well, let's take our final story. Highlighting this incident on the Second Niger Bridge, where criminal elements vandalized and stole iron compartments used to construct the bridge, which is a key national infrastructure connecting cities to economic activities. Well, a Good Samaritan spotted the incident, as we'll see in this video that has now gone viral.
Tell me, is that Soludo is doing this one? It is Soludo that come out this road. It is governor of Anambra State that come out this one. Those you people are maybe. This thing, you know how much they say this thing? You go sell them for iron condemned. They don't first carry this one. Come to this side. They don't go sell them. As they ship this one now, they won't carry them now. Small time now, I don't know who I go complain this thing for. But this thing now, is very dangerous.
Well,
before tomorrow, you no go see am. Na person dey come carry am, go sell am. Is that good?
No good.
Great amateur footage there. Great citizenry reporting, as we'll always say. He went ahead to call the police, and the police was there. I mean, how unfortunate is this incident?
You know, I once wrote a piece where I talked about mass psychosis in Nigeria. Nigerians behave as if the entire country is mad. And the citizens behave as if they have mental issues in terms of their relationship with government. Now, anytime government introduces something for the benefit of the people, it's the same people that will sabotage it. Now, if you put up street lights, if you are not careful, by the following morning, Nigerians will have stolen the lights. The same street lights that are supposed to serve them. Now, this second Niger bridge has been a major subject of discussion.
Absolutely.
You know, to ease congestion in terms of access to the southeastern part, to, encourage economic activities. Now, that bridge, the effort that has been made there, the same Nigerians that are to benefit from it are destroying it. Take this third mainland bridge that was refurbished. Within 1 week, people were arrested, removing things from the bridge. So this is part of the problem, which is why part of the issues we need in this country is moral reorientation.
Absolutely.
There's a moral turpitude that has turned the entire country into a country of problematic citizens. Where are the citizens who believe in Nigeria, who will support Nigeria?
We need to support Nigeria.
So guys, to be honest, Nigeria has gotten it wrong. With the kind of, the calibers of persons we have in the APC. Don't forget that Tinubu said he's coming back again in 2027. I'm just wondering if this country will continue to crawl. Because if indeed he believes he can win election genuinely, you will see efforts, to serve the masses. But do you know why they are not making any effort? It's because they know that come what may, INEC is going to be used. Come what may, the judiciary will work in their favor. That is why you don't see, it's as if we don't even have a president. I mean, nobody feels the presence of the president. You don't know when he's in the country. You don't know when he's out of the country. And it's as if there is leadership gap in this country. Look at the insecurity everywhere. I mean, Nigerians, you are the ones to protect your lives and your properties. If you are waiting for the government, you are wasting your time. And you can see how, they can just say anything. Akpabio came out and say, oh, let's continue with the 30K. We cannot add money. Some of the government officials have come out and boldly tell Nigerians that we don't have the resources to tackle, this situation. I mean, the prices of things in the market are all escalating. And they're telling us that they don't have the money. But the politicians, they can take enough home and even save the ones for the unborn children. There are a whole lot of rascality happening in this country. And if you are not worried, then you are not really a patriotic Nigerian. Because for me, I'm just wondering if we continue with this set of politicians that we have today, Nigeria, will jam the rock. I mean, Nigeria will never move forward. These people, they lack empathy. They are so insensitive, so dormant. They don't care about how the ordinary man feels. You can imagine somebody saying Gari, which is meant to be the poor man's food, is now very expensive. And even the poor masses cannot afford to buy Gari. And then when you get into families where, some parents are having like 10 children, you can imagine what it means now to keep up with such, a family. To keep up with such a family. Honestly, these people, they don't care, Nigerians. They don't care. They are just there to destroy this nation. And Tinubu will have the guts to tell Nigerians that he's coming back again in 2027. Because he believes that Nigeria is a place where anything goes. Whether he leads the people well or not, he can always use INEC and the judiciary, to find his way back to Aso Rock. And that is why if you're a Nigerian and you are keeping quiet, you are just sleeping on all this, you have to wake up, learn your voice. It is time for us to start telling ourselves that 2027 is not going to be business as usual. If it means sleeping at the polling units, you are going to sleep there to make sure that this country is redeemed. honestly, you are going to make sure that you are registered, you've collected your PVC, and the people around you, it's sure you are going to be in charge of your family, your kinsmen, your relatives, making sure that everybody has picked it. So we know that in Nigeria, yes, voting or votes don't count, but this time we are going to make it to count. Nigerians, open your eyes. So these people, they are here to finish this country. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.